Check, check, 1, 2. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh my goodness. Have you heard this bullshit? First off, welcome to the new show. What? I know we're recording. Hey, FKO Radio. You're listening to it. If you can hear my voice, you are listening to the pirate bullhorn sounds of FKO Radio. That's Safety Third Radio for you. Because Safety Third is much too important to be left in the hands of professionals. So I'm here. We're listening to Nick Diaz, who was just suspended by a bunch of dorks. Okay? Dorks. And I think you fought, well, what was it? What was it? Can I get you to speak? Fifth Amendment, then, Nick. Tell him, Nick. I hope you're a lawyer. I hope those dudes get paid. And I don't mean by Nick. I hope Nick fans pay for Nick's lawyers. You want to free Nick? I'm contributing to the lawyer fund. Free Nick. This is bullshit. And then Dana comes out and you know what he says? Oh, they don't listen to me. Which I believe is true. But come on, Dana. You could call them dorks. Dorks. Nitpicking on Nick that way. That's, oh my goodness, of all the fucking honest to goodness, well-rounded champions the sport has had. We're barely a sport. MMA is barely a sport. It's only tolerated because they haven't figured out a way of illegalizing consensual combat. But when taxpayers start figuring out how much money they're spending supporting this sport, they're going to be much less inclined to let you people beat each other in the head and punish each other the way fighting should be done. Right? Well, anyways, so you only have these few short years to have Nick Diaz up there taking punches for all you fucking lame motherfuckers. And the Diaz boys up there in Stockton. By the way, I used to I'm from Oakland originally. Now I live in Belmont Hills. Now I'm all rich and shit. But before, the upbringing, that's down in San Pablo, Richmond. So we're sort of like Chevron East Bay. Then you got to go through that tunnel and you get to everybody else. Concord, Livermore, Stockton. Anyways, but all my cousins live out there. That's right, my aunts and uncles are all from Pittsburgh. This kind of area. Anyways, Stockton, home of the Diaz brothers. You want to know why? How come he yells Stockton in the middle of this fight? Because he's representing, bitches. That's right. He's representing Stockton. And those dudes know how to brawl because they brawl from being tiny. You learn how to box. You don't have to hurt other people, but you have to brawl. You're going to have to survive on the streets, which are just kind of wild back in the day. They're still kind of wild like that today. Nobody talks about it. Silicon Valley's in their backyard. Billionaires run through this neighborhood. Elton John will come through here. Obama will come through here. Larry Ellison will drive his boats in and out of here. Okay? And 50 miles away, children still have to fight for their place in the classroom in between school hours. They still get you after school. I want Neil deGrasse Tyson to solve that problem, Mr. Smarty Pants. Huh? He wants an original point of view. Let him speak on after-school bullying. How come the telescope hasn't been pointed in that direction? Instead, we've got people like this empowered to take Nick Diaz to court in Nevada. You don't have to be a fight fan to see how unjust and how nitpicky this is. This is obviously them targeting. They're trying to make a standpoint. This is a public allocated board. How dare they presume to know what's best for the sport? when none of the actually healthy competitors in the sport support what you're doing? How do you not recognize that? You're in the wrong fucking sport. Couldn't blame people for pot smoking. What about car exhaust? You're gonna start testing for car exhaust? Are they organic fighters? Do they have any growth hormone? Have they had any Safeway beef? Do they have fluoride in their system? That's performance enhancing. Nice teeth with a big old picture of you and Dana White and John Jones standing there. You have yellow teeth. That could affect your pocketbook. How come we're not going after the fluoride users? Huh? Anybody get a spray tan? Some airbrushed muscles? Take use of computer imaging to enhance their career? This is fucking retarded. I love these people. Look at them. They're standing so brave, too. They're fucking... Fuck you, fuck Nick Diaz. You might be a champion... a champion purveyor of violence. But... we are the law. Bow down before us. Nick Diaz, bow down before us. Fuck Stockton. That's what she's saying. She's saying, fuck Stockton. I don't want anybody to get vigilante on her. Okay, she's a good human being. These are exactly the kinds of people you want to be in charge of our worst problems. You want to have a water fixer. Somebody who could fix our water problem. Get that lady on that problem. Whoever's holding up the water, she'll look at them just the way she looked Nick Diaz in the face and said, did you participate in a fight on, what was it, October whatever the fuck, or October whatever the fuck? And then just wait for the response and make him each and every time say, the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. So there he is, fucking Nick. Just, like pre-fight, just like if somebody's trash talking you in the corner of your ear, he must have heard that dork yelling at him. All these, did you smoke pot? Every question was the same question. It was just reformed in it. Did you smoke pot? Was there pot around you? Was there pot in your hair? Did you test positive for pot? Did somebody say that you had pot? Do you know what pot is? Do you use the word pee? Do you use a pot at home? Is there a pot in your kitchen? Are you admitting that there's pot in your house right now? Did you in fact smoke a bong and put it on I mean, this is seriously. Lady, I would love to hear her arguments during a marathon. I mean, if you're going to accuse a champion athlete of something, why not be able to issue that challenge on that athlete's own terms? Get her ass in a triathlon to serve those kinds of questions. See how well she does when nobody gets to bring her water at the table like a civil servant. People actually bring these people waters. Nick Diaz has to take a water bottle to work. You understand? That's called worker. That's what work is. When you have to fucking take your own water to where you're going because there isn't water there enough for you to drink, and nobody just fucking brings you water because you've been sitting on your ass all fucking day looking over papers and shit. Okay, there's a big split. So this is bureaucracy. Pointing its finger at the workers, going, you didn't work correctly. You didn't do it the way we said it. We're going to fine you, and you're never going to fucking box in this town again, Buster. You're all washed up. And it's a big finger pointing thing. And that just shows so much top-down disrespect to the people who are actually turning these goddamn paychecks, bitch. You would have no job without fighters. Stop it. Stop it. The kind of authority you have is so tenuous. They don't need you, bitch. They don't need you. They don't fucking need a commission. They'll find... Boxing will move to another state. You know where they love it? In Canada. Oh my goodness. Have you seen GSP? He's building an entire fight network up there. He's inviting fighters from all over the place. I'm not just saying GSP was doing it. I'm saying Dana understands he's not the only player in the game. If you close one market off, They're from Vegas. How come they don't understand the mechanism of micro growth? I mean, literally, you'll just open up other markets. You'll force opening up other markets. And with the state of depravity of this nation at this time, you could have illegal boxing matches going off in every non-major city in the United States just to cash in on the laps of Vegas fights. Because fighters will avoid you like the plague. They don't need you. They can go to Japan. They can pro video from any place in the world and turn an audience of 40 people to look like 40 million people. You know, the UFC's not stupid. They're not going to put all their eggs in just that one basket. You know, Dana has business partners, of course, which I hope they're thrilled with Dana, because Dana's, he's the face of a very unliked sport in our nation, and it should be unliked. That's the whole draw of it. We're doing something that's unique and worthwhile pursuing at a time when it can still be pursued, because I think everyone knows this intuitively. This is not going to be permitted in the future. The children of this planet, well, they'll have an appreciation for it for sure. They're not going to stop watching, but they're definitely not going to participate in it. They can't risk it. Guys like Nick Diaz are born. You're not chosen. Daniel Cormier, probably one of the what a fantastic fighter this guy is. Okay? Coming from Olympic wrestling, his story is awesome. He's an awesome individual. What an amazing performance athlete in this guy. Okay, and I'm sure he's overcome a lot of personal battles to get to where he is. He's a big dude. People don't understand about big people. Like, when you get big and muscular, you have all kinds of daily problems that you have to overcome. You got to go to the gym, and your body probably doesn't feel like it. But he looks hungry. So that's an amazing feat. That dude is a good fighter. Daniel, you are a fucking good fighter, bro. Stood up and boxed. Did you see him stand up and box? He was like, I was a wrestler. Shit. You see that? Clockwork. All day long, bro. He just stood up and boxed. That was sick. Love watching that. That's why I like watching Nick. Nick could judo your shit. Just stand up and bring it, boy. Stockton, bitches. Free Nick Diaz. That's what we said. Because that's bullshit. Seriously, man, that's bullshit, dorks. Those dorks. It's legal. We gotta obey the law. Nick, I hope you get the fight of your life next. I hope you get paid $1 million for your next fight, Nick. I hope this carves your... I hope you're suffering, Nick. And Nate. I hope you both those boys, under some pain, some stress. Bring it to the next fight. Watch. These boys aren't afraid of that shit. They're not afraid of that shit. They're afraid of being losers. They're afraid of being dorks, giving a shit about meaningless rules. Those rules are meaningless. They're hopelessly meaningless. They're embarrassing in Nevada. That's embarrassing. This is the same state that allows Burning Man. You heard me. You allow Burning Man. All of you. All you MMA fans out there. Let me tell you something. Don't go to Burning Man. You're not welcome. Violent people are not welcome at Burning Man. You can dress violently, but you can't be violent at Burning Man. They don't like wrestlers and boxers and shit. They don't like real people. There's an art festival out there. Blood test any one of those people. Just by proximity. They will be... Every single... I can't prove this scientifically, but every single participant at Burning Man at the end of the week, if they have been there for more than 3 days, I bet will test positive for everything: pot, steroids, acid, mushrooms, LSD, roofies, you name it. It's probably in their systems. And they don't get banned from shit. Nevada Boxing Commission didn't have shit to say with that. Shit to say. They don't interfere with that business at all. They got tons of law enforcement that goes out there, federal agents, BLM people, county sheriff guys, all out there. I won't say they're drug sniffing dogs and shit, but they inspect vehicles and everything else, looking for drugs. But they don't drug test. And if they did, nobody would fucking go. There would be 40 awesome artists on the playa and no one to see them. And we would have a good time. I'd be one of them. That's an old school Burning Man right there. But we noticed that the Boxing Commission can't do shit about that. Stockton, bitches. Stockton. You're small. You just cover such a small piece of the infrastructure of the world. You got to press real hard. You know, Nick has friends because he's sincere about being a real fighter, about picking a fight with somebody and getting into a fight with somebody. And he does it as a sport. The man he's a technician. He doesn't have to hurt anyone if he doesn't want to. And very few people understand what kind of skill that takes. Literally experience. You have to do it over and 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 more over and over. And when you don't want to do it anymore, you keep doing it. You keep doing it. Oh my! And then these guys, look at my boy, beat up a bully dude. Guy went kind of crazy. Mayhem, Jason Mayhem, the fighter. Dude just he can get into fights. He knows how to fight. He knows how to pick a fight. He knows how to have a fight picked upon him. He knows how to pick himself up. Although, recently, the head trauma thing, man. Head trauma is rough. And Nick Diaz still has a brain inside his skull. And I'm not saying Jason doesn't have a brain. Jason, obviously you have a brain. Just saying, it doesn't look like that way on Twitter. But Nick's still articulate. He didn't go... Forgive me, Muhammad Ali. But, he didn't go all Parkinson's. Nick Diaz is still a functioning member of society. He still knows right from wrong. He didn't, excuse the expression, Mr. Jones. He didn't John Jones it. He didn't just go, and let the ship kind of crash into the iceberg, so to speak. So these guys are fighters. It's their job not to get emotional. But you can't blame a head that has been beaten by the competition of fighting with other people and things to always be able to do that. It's not reasonable. We can't have a sport like that and then as a society just throw these people away and say, well, now you're being too emotional. You're not allowed to break out of it. Keep it in the ring. Keep it in the ring, boys. Keep it in the ring. And fighters have to know they have to keep it in the ring because society, ultimately, and this is just my opinion, they don't give a shit about you at all. At all. Seriously. They hope you both die. They want you all to die. Every single fighter at a GSP, all of them. Everybody. You see Rowdy Piper out there, and but love Rowdy. He was fantastic. Even when he was a bad guy, people were like, I don't know, I still kind of like Rowdy. Still, they chopped his head off in the middle of the ring in one of the WWE things, just on accident. It would have been the most watched event and rewatched event in television history. Because you're gladiators. You're supposed to go down. That's what fighting's all about. You fight so that these fucking armchair motherfuckers don't have to. And if you're a fighter, say goodbye now. Say goodbye now. Whatever life you think you're going to have after boxing, you're not going to remember most of it. So your good days will be behind you. After boxing, your head's going to be a toaster. It's going to go on and off. And it's either going to burn the toast, or it's going to make it just right, or it's going to be too fucking soft. And you'll probably hit all three. Because you're fucking beating your head around. Wrestling isn't wrestling anymore. Apparently wrestling isn't wrestling until you're punching. And punching isn't punching until you're wrestling. So now it's basically just fighting. Now we have a real sport called fighting. They call it MMA, but it should be called fighting. Boxing is boxing, and fighting is fighting. And mixed martial arts is a fucking word that we use to get here. Now it should just be called Fight Club. Because that's what it is. It's a fight sport. Well, next comes weapons. The next generation is going to start using weapons. They're going to try to do this virtually, but people are going to realize you can cheat virtually. So they're going to have to get it done. You're going to see guys in there with sticks, trash can lids. I don't fucking know. Hopefully none of you idiots are going to get off the ground with that one. I hope I'm dead before I see that nonsense. You guys are going to kill each other. You can't turn certain things into a sport. Beating on each other is not really a sport. Multiple assailant stuff. Watch this. Watch John Joes and his return as now he's a minister of some religion in the year 2040. And watch him take on 3 other big dudes. Running Man, guys. Running Man. Keep it in perspective. People talk about respect. If you really want respect, keep it professional. Number 1, never fight for free. It should be that simple. Just don't fight for free. If you're unfortunate enough where you've had to fight for free because that's part of your survival or whatever, you forgive yourself immediately and then get professional and don't fight for free no more. That's it. You're a professional. You're a professional. You fucking show people how it's done. They need to pay for that. Don't give away your fights for free. If you need a fight so you can get paid, okay, give away one fight. Exhibition. You better win that fucking fight though. So be ready. Because in the very next fight you need to get paid. You need to get paid or fucking don't fight. If you can't get paid for fighting, stop fighting. Train. Train. The worst thing you can do is just start fighting at a high level and trying to get your ass whooped so that you can toughen up. Bullshit. Train. You need your body as long as you can. Once you start having injuries, ask the old dudes around you. Once you start having injuries, that's not a fun road anymore. Because your injuries don't just heal. Stop. Okay, you manage your injuries afterwards. And now you're working on a crutch. So you start out with a beautiful body, you end up with a very tough one, but also one that has to do a lot of management. And by the way, if you're a wrestler or a fighter, you're going to be constantly trying to do yoga the rest of your life because you're going to always try to outstretch your joints, which are now all toughened because you got all this muscle mass and shit. So there are side effects to exercise. And there are side effects of exercise at high levels and high intensities. So be careful when you fight. And stop beating your heads. Oh my God, I can take a punch. Yeah, well, start slowly. And realize if you cannot take a punch, stop trying to force it. Look, there's no shame in not being able to take a punch. I got knocked out once, and I woke up literally 3 minutes later. It was the longest I had been unconscious, without going to sleep. Ever. Because somebody tagged me on the chin, and it got into that nerve in the jaw, and just, whoop, just dropped to the floor. Nothing you can do about it. Thank goodness one of my friends stopped that fight. He could have kicked me on the ground. I'd just be laying there like a recessive Annie. Kids who've had to street fight know all about losing fights, because sometimes you lose a fight. That's just the way it goes. That's kind of what makes you a better fighter, because you end up going, I don't want that to happen anymore. Man, getting punched is hardcore, especially when the kid's bigger than you or just faster than you. Shit. We had a kid who was crazy. He would use nunchucks and all that other stuff, but when he boxed a very straight boxing style. In fact, in our neighborhood there was like this whole boxing purism. We used to go to boxing exhibitions at the Richmond auditorium. They had an art center over there, and they had an auditorium, and they would host boxing matches. And I remember my dad taking me, we would go to the boxing match, and he would meet up with some of his buddies from the Meat Cutters Union, and they would all, park their trucks way out in the corner and smoke cigarettes and just kind of tailgate before the boxing match. And I would sit up there and I would listen to these guys talk about these great fighters, and how a lot of them came through Richmond. A lot of them were local boys or Oakland fighters, and it's big, huge thugs, just guys. They would always talk about how big their mitts were, how big their hands were. They could smash other human beings, with a giant fist. Anyways, But I remember going there and watching these guys thug it out, and everybody could box. There was just all kinds of boxing. They taught boxing in junior high apparently in the 60s and 50s, I guess, around Chevron and Richmond. So all these guys learned a little bit of boxing. And in fact, when I was coming up, my best friend, his dad was a Golden Gloves or boxer, and so they had they had speed bags, and we had big heavy bags. We would just punch around. You would teach me how to swing into a hit, and hit the back of the bag, and all these nice tricks, twisting on your toes, and getting some uppercuts in there, getting some real velocity, and behind your elbow, and just those kinds of